Hi, we're so lucky that this podcast is recording in person in like a place that we can take video.
Yeah.
So I have Che Grayson here. We're going to record this episode, but we get an actual video this time instead of just like a picture of you during the audio.
It only seems appropriate since I make films.
Yeah.
It would be a video.
Sorry, this is like a very lowbrow, low budget video.
That's guerrilla filmmaking for you. It's all good.
Cool. Okay, so we'll like officially start the episode, but that's happening too. So cool. Oh, also, do you want Che or Chelsea?
Che.
I never remember to ask that. Great. Hi, welcome to the Sartorial Geek podcast. I'm Jordan Ellis of Jordan Today, and I'm here with Che Grayson, who I'm so excited to talk to. I can't believe we actually haven't recorded yet. This is stupid.
We tried.
But this is good. We saved it for like a
The
cool,
last
exciting thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess we'll save like your big news for a second from now. To intro you, you do like a little bit of everything. You're a writer of all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Just tell us like what you're doing and what kinds of things you do.
Yeah. So I am a writer, as you said, of multiple mediums. I'm a comic book writer, I'm a screenwriter, and I'm a TV writer.
Which is so cool.
And prose too, actually. So I always want to write.
Yeah.
I've made that a thing for my life, which is very exciting.
But you went to school for film,
yeah,
right?
So
okay.
I went to school, which I just graduated, NYU, the MFA
Yeah.
film program at Tisch, and my concentration was in directing and screenwriting. And that was incredible because I spent the first couple of years writing and directing and producing shorts. And then I started writing features. So I have some feature films in the back if anyone out there wants to fund my films.
And your short films are on your website, right? So people can actually watch them now?
Yeah, so
cool.
you can go on my Vimeo. I'm actually quite Googleable, which I'm very
That's
proud
awesome.
to say. I'm very Googleable.
Yeah.
So like if you Google me, you'll find like both my CheGrayson.com site and my Vimeo site have
Awesome.
my shorts that you can just for free watch at your leisure. So yeah, I graduated, and my graduation, my thesis project for NYU is called Magic Hour. That's kind of what we're here today to talk about.
Yeah.
And that is the second TV pilot I've ever written, but the first kind of TV pilot that I've ever produced. So this is the pilot concept for a fantasy horror TV anthology series that I've been working on for more than a year now. And it's so freaking exciting. Like, I shot it exactly a year ago. I had been working on the script before.
It was that long ago.
I know.
That's so crazy.
And have been working on it through post-production the entire time, which for those who don't know, post-production is after you shoot the film, you're only halfway there.
Yeah.
You need to work with an editor, work with a composer to work on the music, a sound designer to work on the world building. In my case, a visual effects artist to work on special effects.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like creepy, spooky.
Yeah,
like you need all that stuff.
My
cool.
whole aesthetic. So I've been working on that, and the Kickstarter that I have live right now, which, we have a little less than a week left to raise the funds, $30,000. We are up to about $18,500 so far, which is
Awesome.
not bad.
Yeah, no, the last week can be like the biggest push, so we just need to make that happen.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, I actually got into comics because I was producing short film after short film, and the thing of it is, it's quite expensive. And NYU, or any other film school for that matter, doesn't just throw money at you and say, like, you get to do whatever
Which
you want.
is so crazy when you think about that. Like,
Yeah.
because Joey went to art school, so like I saw a little bit of having to fund your own projects, but that was like art and drawing, not like video. I mean, that gets so expensive.
And when it's, a collaborative medium like both comics and film, you have to get everybody on board. And no one, there are people who work for free, but in this day and age, we're kind of fighting that that's not the case.
Yeah. And no one should have to work for free.
Yeah,
like,
no one
it's
should
great
have to work for free. And that idea that like a passion project means that no one gets paid is not really the case. And certainly wasn't the case when I made Magic Hour. I paid everybody.
Yeah.
So, maybe not Disney rates, but it was still.
But yes,
So that the time that was given, that everybody gave, they can say like, at least I can pay my rent because I put a week or 2 weeks into this. So and kind of to track back a little bit. So I started writing comics because I was like, I still have so many stories to tell. It takes so long to make a film.
Yeah.
And to even...
And you need all those other parts too. You can't just... I mean, you can just make a film by yourself, but...
You can,
but it's very hard.
It's so hard. And so I was like, well, my genre, like the themes and the visuals that I'm exploring are fantastical in nature, are... my first self-published comic ended up being a superhero story that was also a short film that I did, and they kind of worked in tandem with each other, called Rigamo, and that was really awesome. But I was like, I still need to tell these stories. And so I started studying comics and going to Forbidden Planet and Union Square and saying like, what do I need to read? Like, what's out there? And at the time I was reading Lock and Key and Saga. And
I feel like everything comes back to Saga, which is great.
Everything comes back. And then I read Brian Cavon. Bitch Planet. And so I kind of accidentally got into this new world that was still a visual medium, and so wonderfully translated from my skill set, which was screenwriting. Because a comic script looks quite similar to that of a screenplay, which was very helpful for me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And so fast forward 4 years later now.
Well, first let's talk about the really cool comics that you got to work on. Because this is my favorite. Like, I have a friend who worked on Bitch Planet.
Yeah. So, you have a friend who worked on So, my first, I started self-publishing with my creative partner at the time, Sharon De La Cruz. And we had done a full issue of something called Rigamo, which I was telling you about a girl whose tears bring people back to life, but every time she uses the power, it ages her. And then we worked on something else called Scatterbrains, which was this really cool kind of one-page layout short comic about these like space travelers and like introducing these set of characters and just trying to continue to like work on our craft since we had only done that one issue before. And that started getting me invited to panels. So I was like going on panels, and one of the panels I was on was one with Valentine Delandreau, who is the co-creator of Bitch Planet.
Mm-hmm. So it was so nice and cool.
He's the coolest dude ever. Like cool with a capital K, like so cool.
And he's at a lot of conventions, so like go say hi to him if you can.
Yeah.
He's great.
So we showed him our work. I was on a panel with him and I was like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. I love Bitch Planet so much. And he was like, oh, cool. And he like gave me a print and signed it. And I was like, oh my God, heroes don't just wear capes.
Right.
He's a hero. And so the following con I saw him at was New York Comic Con. And we actually, like, he met Sharon and we showed him our work and he looked at it and he was like, would you want to get paid to do this? And we kind of looked at him like, duh?
Yeah, is that a real question?
Like, that was, like, is that a question?
Right.
Okay. We were like, yes, please. And he was like, cool, because your stuff is great. And a year later, out of the blue, seemingly out of the blue, we get an email from him saying that they wanted us to write a short story for Bitch Planet within the universe of Bitch Planet, and if we had any pitches. And it ended up being what then became Bitch Planet Triple Feature, which was a set of stories within the world of Bitch Planet that writers and artists, both new, green kind of newbies and older folks, collaborated together to make. And it's a beautiful book.
It's so cool. Oh my God, it's so cool.
So many cool stories. I've met some people who are my friends to this day, and it was just so amazing. And they paid us.
Yeah.
We got paid.
That's awesome.
It's like,
and it's still for sale, right? Like, you can still pick it up.
You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at the Image booth at any con. You can get it at Forbidden Planet. It's amazing.
So cool.
And from there, I had, you know, Kelly Sue and Valentine's kind of MO was that we understand that in order to get published, you need to be published, and how that's a conundrum.
Yep.
And so they were like, well, now you are.
That's
now you're published.
So cool of them.
And now
like, as published. If they weren't the coolest people already.
Like, as if they weren't badass enough.
They
put all of us on. And so, by my first San Diego, I had my first published piece that I could like walk around on and pitch to people. And it was an incredible feeling, but it also really was a calling card because I started dropping off issues at certain booths and with certain editors, and started meeting with editors, and they didn't just say like, oh, I like this person, Che seems cool. They were like, also her story in Bitch Planet was super cool.
Yeah.
And from there I started pitching my own original creator-owned ideas. But it wasn't until, you know, this past spring that I got my first solo book, which I can't say what it is yet technically.
We'll have Che back really to talk about that.
Right? So that was so cool, and it all started with just having such a love for exploring things through visual storytelling. Because I was always, I wrote throughout high school, but it wasn't until I picked up a camera that I saw the beauty in kind of like visually capturing the things that I was writing. And that felt like so much power, and I thrived off of that idea that I can create a picture that said so much more than words.
Yeah. Right?
And so, yeah, it's just really exciting to now be on the other side. My friend calls it limbo. Like, I've been in this limbo where, like,
totally.
Everyone's saying my name, they're bringing me up in the conversations, but I'm still green. So it's like, do we give her a chance, or do we wait for someone else? You know, so now,
and you've been doing like different things, so it's not like it's all in one trajectory. It's like
exactly.
A little bit of a couple things.
The time that I'm having like a dry spell with comics was the time that I was producing Magic Hour. The time that Magic Hour got, you know, put to the back burner before this Kickstarter is when I started pushing really hard with comics and like getting more jobs.
It seems like a lot of people are doing, like, it seems like now that's a really good idea to have like multiple things, because you know, if comics like as an industry are a little slow, you have film. Exactly. So I think that's really smart.
Exactly. And some of my favorite writers, creators have that kind of background.
Yeah.
Matt Fraction and Brian K. Vaughan. Brian K. Vaughan actually went to the film school at NYU.
Oh, cool.
Matt Fraction was, from my research, I didn't ask him personally or anything because I'm too nervous to introduce myself, even though he's Kelly's husband. But he did film before he even went into comics. So it's a very symbiotic kind of existence between the two. And now more than ever, these companies are like IP farms. Like, we need that IP.
I was going to say, comics are becoming film.
The Watchmen, you know, Walking Dead, all of that is attracting the film industry to me. So, which is so ironic because the film industry is very much gatekeeper. Yeah. Like, the gatekeeping
it's not accessible. Like,
it's not accessible. It is who you know.
Yeah.
And it's really that simple. Whereas comics, it's like, feels more like a community. It feels way more interconnected. It has its faults, but it's far more interconnected than I would say the film industry is, and smaller. So that worked in my favor. So now the irony is like, all these production companies are coming to comic book writers and being like, we're gonna make this. We want you to make a comic book series. But it's really just so that we can adapt it into a
because we want it later.
And it's like, well, if you sign the check, then why not?
Yeah.
But also, no matter how much comics pay or don't pay, I love the medium so much, and by God, I don't do it for the money.
Yeah.
Because the money isn't like
a lot of us don't do what we're doing for the money, so
So, you know, comics, that glory is not financial. So just putting that out there.
But that's such an exciting time to talk about Magic Hour.
Yeah.
So we like teased it, but like, what is it? Like, what is the concept, or what's your verbal trailer?
So my verbal trailer, my little pitch was always that Magic Hour is the Twilight Zone, but Black, queer, and just like femme.
Which, like, I mean, what else do you need?
Right? It's like, did you like San Junipero? Did you like Annihilation? Like, do you like to see, you know, people who aren't just straight cis white men navigate these spaces that are fantastical and big and exciting and adventure?
Yeah.
And not just, you know, a rom-com, which I love rom-coms, but that we can be more, that, you know, Alien and what Sigourney Weaver did for us, by golly, in the late 70s, is something that can be even more present now.
Yeah.
In this day and age. 2019, we need Valkyrie. We need Natalie Portman's Thor.
Yeah.
Like, we need to have fun and to explore worlds and themes that we haven't had a chance to yet. And so that's what I'm about.
I'm
I
so
want Magic
excited
Hour to
for
just
this.
be really dark and scary and funny and emotional, but also just, you know, I want people who are science fiction lovers, horror lovers, and fantasy lovers to first and foremost come for the stories.
Yeah.
And being able to see themselves in these three genres that don't often reflect them. I'm a huge horror fan. I grew up with Friday the 13th, The Exorcist, The Shining, you name it. And so to not see myself as something that kind of creeps up on you as you get older. And once you're older, you're like, oh, now I have the power to, like, do The Shining. But, like, in my own way, what would it look like? Because it ultimately, coming from me, will look different. And that's the beautiful thing about being an artist, is that you can come to a story, all three different people from three walks of life, and it will be different. And there's value in that.
Cool.
It's not a competitive industry, despite how it's put out. It's not. Everyone wants to watch movies. Everyone wants to watch TV shows. Like, people just want something good, or at least something that speaks to them. And so I really hope Magic Hour can enter a space where people can be like, I didn't even know I needed that, or that I wanted that, but, like, bring it.
That was me watching Wonder Woman. Like, I had no connection to that character, really, and then I was sitting in the theater like, women are turning to be superhero, like, sobbing with like, I didn't know how much I needed that movie. So
it feels
this is gonna be
good.
So cool.
And, like, I just want to be able to do that as a filmmaker, as a comic book writer, as a storyteller in general, to be like, oh, I didn't know I needed Get Out.
Yeah.
I didn't know I needed Captain Marvel when he was like, when she punched him in the face.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I was like, that's what I'm like.
Yeah.
Because I realized that I love books. I love TV. I love film. I love comics. But when I get asked the question, who do I relate to? Which character do you relate to the most? I don't have answers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad.
I mean,
you know
yes, it is. Yeah.
And, like, the only person that comes to mind is Octavia Butler and the work that she's been able to do, you know, from the 70s till she passed in 2000s. So I just want to feel more like, like that character, like I'm rooting for that character because it makes sense. Like, that's exactly what I would do. Or,
plus, now there's a wide open space. Like, if you've seen no characters and you've been reading all these stories for this long, then you have space to make it, which is very cool.
And apparently it's a good time to be a woman in black, according to everybody who's, like, complaining that they can't get a job now.
If that's true, thank God, finally.
I know. It's like, balance it out.
Right.
So, apparently it's a good time to be me.
Cool. We'll own it and enjoy it.
Yeah, right. So that's Magic Hour, and you know, the campaign ends July 31st, noon, Eastern Standard Time. So we have quite a bit of money to raise.
So people listening, like, click on it right now. So let's talk about some of the rewards. I know some of them because we did an exclusive pin and t-shirt for Magic Hour, which is cool. So there's a Jordan Dene design in there. Yes. But there are more rewards too.
Yeah, I'm all about, like, I love Kickstarters. I love supporting them. I have for a long time, and this is actually my second Kickstarter campaign that I've launched. So I've done it before, but for much less money. And so I love rewards, and so I made quite a bit of them.
Yeah, there are
some
good
cool ones.
rewards for this.
We have a film poster designed by incredible artist Polina Ganesha. I'm saying that right, Polina?
I don't know.
She's so good. She's like an incredible comic book artist. Like has done some really cool comic book covers. Like she's done a Sabrina the Teenage Witch one. She's done a bunch. So we worked together on that, and it's like a killer color. And I told her that the palette was the bisexual flag, and she nailed it.
Yay!
It's like the most beautiful pink, purples, and blues.
Yay!
And so we have that in postcard form, which we can get for a lower tier. We have posters. Cool. Then we have a really cool collectible cassette tape that like goes with the soundtrack.
That's awesome.
An original soundtrack for the film, for the pilot, and the cassette is designed with like the artwork.
That's so
really
cool.
Exciting. And then we have, of course, your beautiful design for the T-shirt, the Magic Hour T-shirt, and which Sam has the T-shirt now. He stole it from me. Like I know
awesome.
you gave me one for myself, and I had like one day.
That's great.
To wear that. Now it's his. And we have the enamel pins, and then we have.
You have some big tiers too for people who want to like get in on it.
For bigger tiers, we have karaoke night. Because karaoke is like a big thing in the film.
Cool.
And what else do we have? We have theater, theatrical, not theatrical. We have like red carpet for film festivals that you would be invited to. We have like associate producer and executive producer credit for those who would want to take a bigger part in the project. And then we have, what am I missing? We have the soundtrack. We have props, actual props that we use in the film that was used by India Moore and Yukataga, the main actors of the film. We have the actual props that we would send you, which is really cool.
I love Kickstarter rewards for that type of thing. Like, when are you ever gonna get to do that sort of thing? That's so cool.
And I realized I've talked about like Magic Hour as a whole, but I didn't talk about this specific episode that we shot.
Yeah.
So basically, the rundown of the first episode, what that story is about, it's a gender-bent reimagination of Frankenstein. So it's my take on Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. Yeah. And it's basically a young woman wakes up without a soul and roams the streets of Tokyo in search of one.
Oh my god, that's so creepy. I'm like a baby horror fan, so I'm gonna like close my eyes when I watch this.
Yeah, there are definitely certain parts where you're gonna be like, oh my god. And yeah, so it's called Soul Search. That's the first episode that we actually were able to shoot and are trying to finish now.
Which you like actually went to Japan to shoot.
Yeah, we actually shot on location for 7 days. I flew some crew out. It was mostly like the producer is a woman, the cinematographer who shot it is a woman, the production designer is a woman. The leads, like we had a beautiful, robust, like queer femme crew. So awesome. That just like, half of them were Japanese. Everyone's like, do you know Japanese? I'm like, nope. Like we worked with an incredible Rumi. She's an incredible Japanese producer, and she's bilingual, and a couple other people that she brought on were bilingual. So we made it work.
That's so cool. Yeah. Do you want to plug the people in it?
Yeah, so it stars India Moore, who is one of the actors in the incredible show Pose, a Ryan Murphy and Stephen Cannell show on FX.
Yeah, which is everywhere right now. Like,
it was
billboards everywhere,
nominated for Emmys. My mom called me last week and she was like, babe, I watched first season of Pose on Netflix. It's so good. I'm like, of course it is so good. So it's great, and working with India was honestly an honor, and it was perfect timing working with them before they got big. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely seeing a new side of India that no one has ever seen, certainly. And it was, really, it was a really hard shoot, and it was a really big, ambitious project, but we did it, and we're doing it. And so awesome. I wanted to be able to say that I did it. Yeah. And it feels good. I really hope the Kickstarter works out and we can finish it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so you have like days to get in on this Kickstarter when you're listening, so please go check it out, but also follow you, like, So you have Magic Hour Social. Is that that'll stick around even after Kickstarter?
Exactly.
Right? Cool.
So even after Kickstarter, Magic Hour TV is our Instagram. MagicHourTV.com is the website where you can get more information about the episode and the series as a whole, as well as the Kickstarter link. Right now, it's a featured project on Kickstarter. So literally, if you go to Kickstarter.com right now, that beautiful poster from Polina will be there. So.
And it's beautiful.
I love it so much.
And then where can people follow you?
And people
separately?
Can follow me on at Che in Wonderland, like Alice in Wonderland, but Che in Wonderland on Instagram. And for Twitter, it's the same, but instead of an O in Wonderland, it's a U.
Cool. So. And then your website is your name, right?
Yeah, and then my website is CheGrayson.com.
Yeah. Thanks so much for chatting. I'm so glad we're friends. I'm so excited for everything I brag about you all the time. It's my favorite thing.
Same. Do you know how many people stop me and are like, that shirt? Like I wear my trash pop. So many.
Yeah.
Like men, women, it doesn't matter.
I'm
like
so
they're like,
happy.
I want what you're wearing, and I'm like.
Oh yeah, Che's been all over the website too. So when you like click on her profile, you're like, oh yeah, this girl I've seen all over.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And please go to the Kickstarter right now because there are so many cool rewards and we need this show. So have a great week everyone. Stay nerdy and we'll talk to you later. Bye. Yay!